And we are live. Hello. Oh man,
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? We got stuff to talk about, man.
Oh my gosh, I mean, I feel like I go to work and then I just look at my phone for 5 seconds and it just starts melting in my hand.
Today was a day. It started as soon as I woke up. There was stuff going on. I'm like, what is happening? And then Mark Means just decided to make it a day. So, hi guys.
How is everybody out there doing? What's up, everybody?
Got Andrew, Aussie Gardner, Hot Scorpio, Kathleen, Sam, Bipolar Princess, Curious Cat, Tara, Rosie, everyone. Hi, how are you all doing? So glad to see you here. I brought Paul on tonight because I'm like, Paul, this is too much for me. I'm losing my mind. I
I
needed him to come
know.
in, offer
I know.
some balance.
I mean, it's just like so of course, yeah, while I'm at work, I'm like sitting here like slowly looking at this unfold. And of course, then you thank you for sending me all the like, okay, here's exactly what happened. So I could digest it once I got home. And I mean, I say this every time I either talk about this or make a video about this case or whatever, where I'm like, I always say it does nothing surprises me at this point, but it still does because I just still get like, what were they thinking? Why would this even be a thought to put this out here? You know, I don't know what Mark Means was expecting to happen by putting these tweets out. So do you want to start by just explaining for those that might not know at this point, like
Yeah, let's start
give
with
them
the
the
original
tea?
tweet for people that didn't get to see this. All right, this was his original tweet this morning that someone sent me a screenshot of. Um, so apologize for the font and everything. It's a little tough to read, but he deleted this tweet. Right, but this was his first tweet. He said it's been reported that either one of both of the Woodcocks, and Larry, attempted to sneak microphones, recording devices hidden on their bodies into the Chad Daybell prelim hearing. Fremont County deputies, blah blah blah, and he links to his Instagram. Okay, and I'm like, what? All right, first of all, right off the bat, that preliminary hearing was live streamed and recorded. Nobody needs to sneak anything
Yeah.
in to record it. It's on my own channel. It's on YouTube everywhere. It's everywhere. They didn't need to do that. So that's just complete baloney. But him doing this to kind of throw the Woodcocks under the bus like that, I was like instantly just pissed off when I read that. You know?
Yeah. Well, the point you bring up, like the most obvious thing, first of all, the tweet, in my opinion, is meant to cause a reaction. It's controversial. It's almost like Jerry Springer esque, because it is kind of like, why would you put this out there? Just like you said, Awen, this is televised, so what's the point in sneaking equipment in there? It doesn't make sense. It's foolish.
Yep.
And so
And
yeah,
so
then
I replied to, there were a bunch of replies to that, and they were very colorful. I'm sorry he deleted the tweet because the replies were gold. But he then tweeted this. This was his second tweet. Well, this is actually his third tweet. The second one was this without the link to his Instagram. So then he retweeted it again, adding the link to his Instagram. So to clarify, the Woodcocks, and look how he spells it there. I mean, come on, man. We were
so
seen just
crass.
outside, removing what appeared to be wires recording in the presence of police agency, possible agencies. What does that even mean? But it was just like, really, like for real. And so I clicked the link to his Instagram and go over to Instagram and see. This is his second Instagram. He deleted the first one, which I think I have. Let me see if I can find the first Instagram. Motions. No. Yeah, he deleted oh, here it is. This was his original Instagram post where he talks a little bit more than he did on Twitter. He says that they were doing it on behalf of A&E for money documentary. Really? Do you think
Yeah.
A&E needs to hire the Woodcocks to sneak in recording devices of a hearing that's going to be aired and recorded anyway? Do you really think that's how A&E works? Come on.
No.
Just jeez. So I mean, he's posting all of this garbage, right? So then this is his second Instagram. Also, anyone who made a negative comment on his first Instagram, he reported them, including me, to Instagram. And I'm like, oh, for real? Can we grow up? So this is his second Instagram. And I'm like, that's actually a great picture of Larry and Kay.
It really
I
is,
love
and I
that.
love the filter on it. That kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the sepia type tone or whatever. I really like that.
Yeah, that's a great picture. So thank you for the picture, Mark. But you know. But the you can see some of the replies here, get your crap together. And people were just pissed off at him. But he kept going. He then goes and posts this, also on Twitter and Instagram, basically saying, well, they're potential witnesses, so they can't be compensated for being in a documentary and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, first of all, I haven't seen them on a witness list. Have you?
No.
No,
This
I
is
don't
no.
see them. No. But secondly, what about his client? He's going to be all up in arms because, they can't be compensated if they're blah, 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 blah. Oh, but it's okay for Lori to take government payments and settlement payments for the kids even after they were dead. That's fine with him.
Exactly.
Right? I'm like, this holier than thou baloney. Oh, it made me a little crazy. I
And he
gotta
has
admit.
literally, like you said, like the worst client to try and take that with, because there's like literally no doubt in most people's minds that she is a horrible human being on many levels. So for
Yep.
him to even try and come at another person, especially, such an extension of the victims in this case,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just like, why would you do that? And again, even his clarifying text message or tweet or Instagram, whatever it was, it still is trying to conjure these images of them being busted at the door of the courthouse, like they had illegal undercover surveillance and yada, yada, yada. And I mean, I just feel like when somebody resorts to these tactics, he knows, hell, maybe he's trying to get thrown off the damn case. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he's doing something like that, because I feel like that's the track he's on with this.
Yep. Now I would have thought that if he was a public defender, but he's not. He's a private attorney. He can just turn around and quit. He doesn't have
This
to
is
get thrown
true.
off the case.
This is
So
true.
what on earth could his motivation have been? I can't think of anything other than he just wanted some social media attention. And now how many people followed his Instagram account today because of this? I did. So maybe
I
that's all he's
signed back
doing.
up for Instagram.
So
I
see,
said,
it
well, I
worked.
guess I gotta sign back up for Instagram. Here we
Mm-hmm.
go again.
Yep.
So yeah, if that was the case, it worked. Sold, bought it, done.
Yep. Now, Nate Eaton, of course, saw this, and he got a statement from Kay Woodcock. And what she says is that her and Larry, they were wearing microphones on their drive to the courthouse. They are working on a documentary, but they took them off when they got out of their truck. So that's probably what whoever saw this saw, but they never wore them in the courthouse. And she says, Mark Means is trying to make us the bad guys. Maybe he'll make Tylee and JJ the bad guys in the courtroom to make it appear like Lori had a reason to murder them. That's Kay's statement. So, yeah, we're all seeing this the same way. And it's pretty crappy.
Oh, I'm sure. That's the antics that will come out of the courtroom for this are going to be gross. I'm thinking Rosenbaum level, like that Rosenbaum trial level. If anybody saw that with Corrine Mole, just
The
trashing
Mullinator.
the victims, the Mullinator.
Yep. Now, Lori Hellis in chat, thank you for being here, Lori. She says that even private attorneys have to have the court's permission to withdraw. Okay, so I didn't know that. That makes a little bit more sense. So maybe he is trying to get thrown off the case. I don't know. But it seems he could have not fought the conflict of interest motion if he just wanted to get off the case. He could have just said, yeah, okay, take me off. But he didn't, so...
I think it's also just like a tactic. I think, like you said, it's an attention tactic. I think that, that's going on. I think it's someone in the chat room mentioned undermining the confidence one might have in Larry K. Completely, 100%. I think that's part of it. And I mean, let's be honest, y'all. We haven't really taken this man seriously from the first time we met him. I mean, it's kind of been a running joke. Yeah,
I tried because remember that first hearing, that 3-hour-long hearing. I was live with Denise during this hearing, and he just went on, and the judge kept telling him, "Please stand when you're addressing the court. That's proper courtroom etiquette." And she kind of told him, "I hope you're getting some help on this because you're in over your head." The judge is saying this to him during that hearing, and we're like, "Oh no, this guy is a nightmare." But after reading specifically Lori Hellis, who is in chat, her newsletter from the LoriVallowStory.com, she did make, all right, I said, okay, all right, it looks like he is doing some smart things. You know, some of the stuff in his motions is pretty good. It looks like he's working hard. And all right, maybe I'll cut him some slack. Maybe he's not that bad. But today I'm like, nope. No more slack for this guy. Done.
Finito.
Yeah, I was very displeased by this because as we've seen from a lot of the documentation in this case, Lori tried to throw Kay and Larry under the bus every turn she could.
Yeah.
You know, she vilified them to everyone, Melanie Gibb, everyone. You know, she's always blaming everything on Kay and Larry. And to see that him taking up that baton it's just disgusting.
What also makes you wonder, does he believe that himself? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously he's listening to Lori's side of the story. You know, he's getting paid to. So it makes you wonder how much of that, you know, he believes.
Yep. And like Lori Hellis just said, he's contributing to the media circus. Certainly, right now, Pryor filed his motion for change of venue today. They are going to argue that they're not going to be able to get a fair jury where they are. And I kind of agree with that. Okay. I'm all for a change of venue. But to do something like this and then go into the court and say, well, the jury pool's poison because blah, blah, blah. And the judge can say, oh, like from your tweets, maybe? Hello? You know, your social media is influencing the jury pool. So what are you talking about? I just think that undermines his credibility when pushing forward for a change of venue. Janine Lewis, thank you for the super chat. What a great super sticker. I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a member. Fantastic.
That's a cute sticker.
Yeah, so I'm concerned about his motivation for these posts. I don't get it. It's not obvious to me what he's doing, other than maybe Lori's just spitting bullets about Kay and Larry, and he thought, okay, I'll just say something nice to make Lori happy. You know, nice as far as Lori's concerned, certainly not towards Kay and Larry. But I was displeased.
I can't wait to see, well, first of all, I can't wait for September 10th to see her, you know, just to study her body language, her mannerisms, what takes place with that. I'm sure it's going to be quick and to the point or whatever. But just seeing this right here, I'm so interested just to see an interaction between her and Means, you know, just like we see with Chad and his attorney, because I think you can learn a lot about just how, you know what I'm saying, like where they're interacting. You see the faces that Chad is making with Pryor, giggling at times. You know, you kind of see just how seemingly unaffected he acted during that preliminary hearing. I want to see how Lori is with Means. Like, is there something more there? And I don't know what I even really mean by more there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But just, I want to see that interaction take place because I feel like it's going to be very telling.
Yeah. And, you know, I did ask him in my video earlier, I'm like, it's been reported that you and Lori might be having an affair. Because that's what he said in his original tweet. It's been reported that blah, blah, blah. It's like, you can't just say it's reported and spew whatever crap comes out your face and that makes it okay. It's not okay. But honestly, how is she paying for her defense? She doesn't have any money.
Let me ask you this, because I'm not sure about this. Is Means, does he feel like, what is his deal like personally? Is he a member of her same camp? I mean, like, what are we dealing with here? Do you know?
I do not know. I've not been able to find out. All I know is he was kind of a family or civil attorney before this case. He's certainly not a seasoned criminal defense attorney by any means at all. No pun intended. So, you know, he's not some hotshot guy, you know, not well known or well paid. So how did she find him? Is he involved in their group, so to speak? I have no idea. But I don't know how she's paying for this. So that's an interesting question that I'd like him to answer.
I would love to know who's paying for it. And I would also love to know, like, what if he's like doing it pro bono or something, thinking like this is going to be my big break into the movies, into the big screen. You know what I'm saying? Like, this could be, because I mean, that's kind of how that goes a lot of times. But I mean, I would think one would think if that was the case, I mean, that ship's kind of sailed. I don't know who in their right mind would ever hire him outside of this case for much of anything at this point. I mean, he's just been so bizarre.
Yep. Up until these tweets today, I would have said, okay, it looks like he's really working on this. He's really trying. He is trying to put forth all the right motions and all the right things and do all the stuff he's supposed to be doing as a criminal defense attorney. But, you know, and I could even forgive him his bad grammar and spelling and even calling her Mr. Lori Daybell, you know, whatever.
That's
We can
true,
get
Lori
past that.
Daybell.
But after this, I'm like, no, your behavior is not anything anybody would be looking for in a criminal defense attorney. Not at all. Going out and attacking the grandparents of a viciously murdered little boy, allegedly murdered by your own client, is not a good strategy. It's never going to work. So I really don't know what he was thinking. I don't. But whew. So what else happened today? There was more stuff. Let me find
What
more
other
stuff.
turn-upness took place?
Well, we have this. This is the motion for change of venue. Let me put that on the screen. John Pryor did not go off on a Twitter rampage today. Instead, he filed his motion for change of venue. And hopefully, please don't join the cases because I can't work with that guy. He's crazy, Your Honor. Oops, that's not the right picture. Hold on.
Yeah, I agree. I personally want to see a change of venue. I want every I dotted. I want every T crossed. I do not want them to be able to come back and say, "Oh, we had an absolutely biased jury because we stayed in this area." You know what I'm saying? I think that it would be excellent to do that. We already know that was I mean, come on, everyone's heard of this case, but go ahead and just do it by the book. Get it out of here so that it gives them less ammunition in the future.
Yep. So I'm going to read this part real quick. It's really short. It says, comes now defendant Chad Guy Daybell and hereby moves this court for an order changing venue because a fair and impartial jury cannot be had in Fremont County. I have to agree with him on that point. This motion is brought pursuant to blah, 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 and is based on the 6th and 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, Articles 1 and 7 of the Idaho Constitution. It shall be supported by the papers and pleadings in this case, the memorandum of law to be filed, evidence to be submitted, and the evidence to be added or adduced. I can't read that. Adduced at the hearing of this motion. Counsel for the defendant requests oral argument on the motion. Further, defendant requests a briefing schedule to allow both parties to submit their memorandum, evidence, and potential witnesses on this motion. Defendant respectfully requests a hearing date on the motion. So, pretty standard stuff. You know, not something we were not expecting. You know, what do you think? Do you think the court's going to grant this?
I do. What do you think?
I think so, because I agree. Anyone in Rexburg is going to be like, nope, death penalty. It's not even on the table with these charges, but they'll be like, yep, we want it anyway. Can we still vote for it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, completely. I mean, that whole area there, it's like, yeah, just take this out of town. Again, this is where I think it's interesting to see the judicial system play out, you know, whatever. Because in these cases, these very high profile cases, and this clearly is one of them, they're going to be hard pressed to find any place that hasn't heard of it. But I feel like it's just going to be extra raw, extra sensitive where they're at in Rexburg. I mean, it's going to be 10 times more intense. So granted, time is going to be their friend in this. You know what I mean? Like, just getting a little bit away from the salt in the wound type vibe, and it's going to take a long time for that. The evidence is so horrifying in this. I don't know how any other outcome could come from it, but I have been surprised before.
Yes. Little Lady Di, thank you for the super chat. Yes, it was an epic fail, wasn't it? Absolutely. That really was.
That's
an epic
so
fail.
cute. Oh my gosh.
Oh. But yeah, I do think they should have a change of venue. I think Rexburg having it right there is going to be a little too challenging because if you lived in the town where those children's bodies were found, how could you be impartial?
Exactly.
You know, I don't think many people would. And then especially we have the very heavy preponderance of LDS people that live in that area. That's going to cause problems, whether you think that's for or against. I would think most people in the LDS faith would be very much against Chad and Lori. But some people are saying, no, they're for them because they stick together like community. I'm like, but they're, okay, whatever. You know, but
hey, maybe they do, you know.
Yeah, maybe
either
they do.
Either way, the bias is so strong. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. So, but where are they going to go? I don't know. Maybe Boise. I guess we'll have to see. But there will be oral arguments in that. Now, what's curious to me is this is coming up, all right, but we also had the motion to dismiss the other day, and today we also had filing from the court. Let me find it somewhere. I had it. I'll find it in a second. Where the court, where's the thing? Here we go. The motion to extend, that was actually granted by the court today.
Woo-woo.
So let me put that up on the screen. You can see that. All right. So, yeah, they have the motion to extend the time for the hearing about the motion to dismiss. All right. Because remember, he wanted time to review the transcript of the preliminary hearing before they have the arguments in this. So who knows how long that's going to take. All right. But then we have Lori's hearing on the 10th. So there's so much happening. I would say right now we can't take anything as a firm date. You know, who knows what's going to happen. So
yeah, so much could happen. And yeah, this whole thing right here about the transcript and all that, I mean, I'm glad they gave him that time. They have to get all that ready, obviously. That's a huge transcript to go over. That's going to be so interesting to see what he does with that, because you already know just arguing on the transcript for that alone could take God knows how long, because he's going to pick every little thing apart in that. Yeah. Every little thing. He's lining himself up for that.
Maybe it would be easier if he contacted Kay and Larry Woodcock and asked for a copy of their recording.
he should send a tweet out to him. If he does legit tweet, ask them for a copy of the recording in the public, that is where I'm going to be like, I am done. I am finished. That is it. These two are working together. Who was behind the curtain?
Yeah. Sam, thank you for the super chat. That's fantastic. All right. Give Sam some Kool-Aid. We're doing Kool-Aid here. Paul does cheesecake, but we got all the Kool-Aid.
Y'all do Kool-Aid? Drink that Kool-Aid, Sam. Drink it up good.
It's a Kool-Aid kind of day after these tweets, I'm telling you.
I mean, I feel like I've had a jug or two my damn self. Okay, hold on. What did Jess say? I feel sorry for whoever had to transcribe his... Oh, Jess. Okay, so Jess just said, I feel sorry for whoever had to transcribe his non-use of the mic. Girl, preach. Preach it, girl. That right there, they might be like, look, we're postponing this till 2022. You know, we've gone through 3 transcribists, or whatever you call the person that does that. We're burning them out 1 a week here. That whole thing is going to be a nightmare. Because, I mean, he was allergic to the microphone. Yep. Allergic to it.
Or doing it on purpose.
Exactly. He was totally doing that on purpose. He knew exactly what he was doing. Because
even Chad tried to help him. Remember when Chad reached over? I'll help you. He's like,
I'll help you with that large microphone there you got there, buddy. Yeah, he was like, Chad was like so excited to be like, look, I've done this. I've worked around this equipment. I know how to handle this. Let me just move this for you, buddy. So yeah. Oh my gosh. It's just gonna heebie-jeebies. But he was doing that on purpose. It's gonna be a nightmare to transcribe it. And from there, it's just gonna be another, theatrical show. I think it's, while it is like good fodder and it's shocking and all this, I guess it just is so surprising to me to think. I always come back to this where I'm like, I remember when this was popping off and I was hearing about it, and I just kept thinking like, oh, something next level, but the kids will be back in a week. They have to produce them, and now it's just turned into this ridiculous, like, reality TV show level stuff.
Yep. Dal Pace, thank you for the super chat. I've had a great time interacting with you on Twitter lately. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. But yeah, you and I and Denise and a bunch of us, we talked about this case a lot, and we all kind of really thought maybe the kids were just in a bunker somewhere. Maybe they were just with somebody else in their little cult somewhere, and she just was hiding them. And we'd see them again. I really believed that because I wanted and needed to believe that. So yeah, it's just, and now we have the bitter truth of what's really happened, and it's horrifying. And I can't imagine how people like Kay and Larry are dealing with it. That's their grandson,
Yeah.
And then to have to deal with this jackwagon over here on Twitter calling them out for some baloney that's not even true. To me, that seems like a libel lawsuit waiting to happen or something.
I mean, it just is so strange why you would do that. I mean, I'm still kind of in like my groggy work mode. So the more I think about it, I'm like, why would you even think to? Why would the attorney think to do that?
Right. What
Like,
would
what
he
is the
hope to gain from that?
motivation? Yeah, I mean, there has to be. It can't just be that level of stupidity. And part of me wants to hold out hope that it's not. You know what I mean? Because it could just be that simple. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He's just an idiot, and that's all there is to it. But I want to think there's something more calculated. But I think I'm giving him way too much credit for that.
Right. If we were dealing with like Jose Baez or something,
Yeah.
there would be a motivation. But with Mark Means, he's just like Lori said Kay and Larry were bad. Yeah, they're bad. Look how bad they are. They're so mean. It just seems like a hissy fit.
Yeah.
Like a puerile, juvenile hissy fit. That's all it seems like to me. If I'm wrong, great. I'd rather not believe that he was really just that dumb, but that's all I can see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I really think it is. This whole case has been, outside the tragedy of it, because it was completely shocking and deflating and horrible when we learned of what happened. You know what I'm saying? To the children I'm speaking of. And the reality of it just said more of, okay, not only did that happen, but they're in Chad's backyard. And then to have to go back over it and be like, so wait a minute, we saw all this stuff of them in Hawaii with those smiles on their faces and those stupid pictures. You know what I mean? Just doing all that stuff and all that set in. So then, I mean, there's all that to it. But then it's like this whole other aspect of the crazy stuff they were doing and believing, and and all the way now to the attorney's behavior. It doesn't stop. It's just everywhere you go, it's just this next level stuff. And it's just, this case is going to be talked about for years and years and years.
Yep. Rosie, thank you for the super chat. Let's give Rosie. Emily is giving out s'mores instead of Kool-Aid. So there you go. To give you some s'mores. Thank you so much. I love this sticker. Yes, we're all going the juvenile route today with Mark Means. We're having s'mores and Kool-Aid.
Hey, I'm down. I want some s'mores and Kool-Aid. That sounds good right about now.
Yep. So the whole thing today about what he said, to me, it also kind of seems like, do we think he is maybe drinking the Lori Kool-Aid? That he does believe her crap? Do you think that's possible?
I mean, part of me, see, that's the thing that I'm really curious now to see. And that's a huge motivation for me, wanting to see their behavior with one another in a court situation.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I think they're going to be doing whatever, but just little nuances. Now, do I think that he's like following her and yada, 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 yada? I mean, I don't know about all that, but when I'm seeing like completely brainwashed. But I feel like there's some level of it, because I think that he's not firing on all cylinders to begin with. Like, right. I don't think it would take much to manipulate his train of thought. And he has Lori there feeding all this into him about the Woodcocks.
Right. Yep. And Grey Hat Jen gives a super chat. Thank you for that. And she says, interesting tidbit regarding jury selection. I joked about where they could find an unbiased jury, and my mom pointed out that she wouldn't have known about the case if I hadn't mentioned it. So maybe there's hope. That is interesting. It really is. Mm-hmm. I from here, I'm in Texas, so I know nothing about what's going on in Idaho. But I would imagine certainly everyone in the LDS community would be just talking about this all day long like we are. But maybe not everyone's a true crime person like we are either, and they're more normal. So I don't know. But I want them to have a fair trial, because I do not want appeals. I don't want mistrials. Yeah. I don't want a Scott Peterson issue like we just saw last week with that case. I don't want to see that.
No.
And Maria, thank you for the super chat. That sticker is great. We're going to keep it up. We're staying right on this case. Don't you worry.
I mean, especially too, here's the thing too with all these things. So obviously there is the victims, the children and whatnot. So the Woodcocks will be dealing with this the rest of their life. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone in the peripheral will be dealing with this for the rest of their lives.
Mhm.
Whatever goes on, going to court cases, going to appeal hearings, yada yada yada. So it becomes like this lifelong journey for like the loved ones of the victims, you know, the victims as they survive, whatever took place, in these cases. And so that's where it's just like, yeah, the more by the book and dotting the I's and T's there are, I feel like it can help along the way.
Yep. And that's
Um,
why even like the motion to dismiss and all that. Yeah, it was irritating. Oh, like motion to dismiss. Who are you kidding, Jack? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, get all those motions filed. Do everything you're supposed to be doing, so no one's going to turn around later and say, "Well, you should have filed that, but you didn't." So mistrial.
yeah.
So yeah, I want to see a nice, clean, great trial because I don't want the Scott Peterson thing that threw me for a loop because it's what 15 years or so, I forget exactly how long,
A
since
long
his
time.
sentencing, and now all of a sudden they just overturned the death penalty because of an issue in voir dire with jury selection. We don't
Yeah.
want to see Lori and Chad eventually, maybe on murder charges or whatever's going to come down the line, get those convictions, life in prison without parole or something, and get it overturned because of a tweet that Mark Means sent in 2020.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Well,
ugh.
here's my next question. Could him doing something like this, could he be trying to work to get Lori? Like, what if he was doing something where he was like, okay, Lori, I'm going to do this so that you can come and say you want to get a different attorney or something like that to slow the process down or to cause some kind of havoc like that? I mean, is that like a thing?
I don't know if it's a thing, but it makes sense. I even said that in my video earlier today. I said, "Are you trying to set her up for a mistrial or
Yeah.
ineffective assistance of counsel? Are you trying to feed that, lay the groundwork so that someday she can say, "Well, look what my lawyer did."
Yeah.
It's like, is that what's happening here? Do they have some kind of conspiracy to get lawyer fired thing? Is there a charge for that? you
I
know?
mean, I feel like they could be doing that because I mean, 100%, you know that she's like that.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? Like completely. She's gonna be way more divisive, I think, and working behind the scenes of knowing how to play who and what. Um, and so yeah, if she needs to do that with Mark Means, I mean, maybe it's time. Maybe they'll go out with a bang. I don't know. Um, but that's how I could see it happening.
Yeah. Although LaDonna says no lawyer would do that. I don't think any lawyer worth their salt would do that. I don't know what kind of case we're dealing with Mark Means. I really don't. He's an unusual person. And this case is certainly unusual. And he's also not a criminal defense attorney. Well, I guess he is now, but he wasn't before this. So how in over his head is he with this? Or does he really think he's gonna play the crowd? It's like discernment is also not his gift.
No, not
Oh.
at all.
We need
Not
to
at
go to Idaho and
all.
sprinkle discernment dust over all these people.
I mean, something. My goodness. Oh, it's just, it's shocking.
Yep, chat is raising a good point. Someone in Pennsylvania says that yeah, this case isn't really well known. Now to us it is because we do true crime all day. Most of the people we talk to are true crime people. So to us this is the biggest thing in the world right now. But I guess to your average person, they may have never heard of it. This isn't all over CNN and everything every night.
Well, you know
So
what I think
unless
happens? I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I think what happens is it splashes across the headlines and like everybody goes and looks at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? And they do a click or whatever. And then a lot of people go away. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like it's a headline to look at, whatever, and they go away. So it might be something like oh yeah, wasn't that zombie woman, that zombie mom, like that did all that, but they don't know the detail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where we're like looking at every tweet that Nate sends out and yada, the whole 9 yards. So you're right. I mean, I agree with you. So it could be a little bit easier for them to find a thing because, yeah, to us, it's just like, who doesn't know about this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ginger Ella just said her brother lives in the Rexburg area, but he knows very little about the case. To me, that's something that I need to bear in mind. Like I'm doing a top 10 series for this case for Patreon. And one of them is going to be the top 10 side players in the case, like not Chad and Lori, but the 10 other people peripherally and tangentially connected to the case. And I'm thinking, well, that's dumb. Everybody knows these people. No, I'm sure a lot of people have never heard some of these names, but to us, we know them like the back of our hand. So yeah, that's a very good perspective to keep in mind. Is we know about, we could name names and dates and people and going back the last 10 years, but there's a lot of people that don't. So let's bring that to the fore. Let's get everyone on board with this case, because I want justice for those kids and Charles and Tammy and maybe even Alex if he was murdered. We don't know, but.
I mean, that right there is just some irony right there. If it turns out that he wasn't, I mean, my God Almighty, I just can't even with that whole thing right there.
Yep, I don't like Alex. I'm not saying that, but if he was murdered, somebody should pay for that. We just don't know what happened. There's too much going on. So, prior call, sorry, go ahead.
Somebody just typed Barley Hops type. I think they're wanting the transcripts to perjure or whatever it's called. MG.
Oh yeah.
That's
Melanie
another
Gibb.
Completely interesting aspect here, because bless her heart, if she gets back on that stand again, she will.
Oh yeah.
She's gonna have to, but she'll go run into it. They're gonna rip her to pieces even more. Because now they have a baseline, a couple of baselines with her to go off of, lies, kind of a little mixer. So they have all that to go against, and it's not going to be a cute look. Wasn't a cute look in the beginning. It's still not a cute look now.
Yeah, I definitely think that he is going to focus in on her very harshly, because, I mean, she lied to law enforcement. Right there, that's going to raise questions with the jury. Oh, can we trust anything she says if she lied to law enforcement? She only came clean because they were knocking down her door. Well, not literally, but, figuratively.
Yeah.
So that right there, she's a problem for the state. And I've been saying that since day one. Melanie Gibb is a problem for the state's side. And John Pryor is not the type to hold back. Just from what we saw in the preliminary, he is not going to hold back and be nice to her. He is going to destroy her on the stand.
Yeah.
Cowgirl Up. Thank you. Hey, it's Cowgirl Up. I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Up.
So good to see you again. Thank you so much for the super chat. Give her some s'mores. Cowgirl Up needs all the s'mores after a day of cowgirling it up out there. Thank you for being here. Yes, Melanie Gibb has impeached herself. I agree with that, Lori Bravo. Yes, I think she did. So
yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, but as far as Mark Means goes, remember all that big 6-page letter he wrote regarding the LDS memo that was put out? I agreed with him about that, but I think the reason I agreed with him and the reason he wrote it are opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And
completely.
And I just don't know what to make of him. I don't, because I don't know. I'm just sitting here shaking my head like I just don't know what to do with this guy, because he seems to be all over the place with his motivations. That LDS memo seemed to actually work in his favor, in his client's favor. Yet here he is coming out against it in a very righteous way that I agreed with. I'm like, but if you're a defense attorney, you probably shouldn't be saying that. And what do you think John Pryor's thinking about all this stuff?
Oh, that was my next thing. I was sitting here wondering. He has to be just dying. But, I mean, there could be other stuff going on. I don't know, because it's just so complicated, like everything else in this case, because they're trying to, merge the things together, which that's going to be that might do me in. That might do me in, because I'm just like, oh, my God, we have to deal with all these people at the same time. Are you serious? But, another side venture here. If they do that, that would be really weird to watch Lori and Chad interact in the way that they possibly could. You know what I mean? Like sitting near each other or whatever. That's going to be like, whoa. I think Pryor, I mean, who knows? He's either glad he sent it because it's making his, proving something for him, or he's not glad. I mean, I have no idea. What do you think?
I think Pryor is probably banging his head on the desk today. Like, what are you doing? Especially if there's a very good possibility that the motion for joinder will get approved by the judge. now he's got to work much more closely with Mark Means. Both of their clients are going to be sitting there, although I think they'll be separated, kind of like we saw in McNabb Bell, where they were at opposite
Yeah.
ends of the defense table, with all their lawyers in the middle, to kind of
Yeah.
keep them from eyeing each other and stuff. Because the jury will be watching that. I mean,
Oh,
we would
yeah.
be if we were sitting there. We'd be watching Chad and Lori like hawks to see what they did. So I think they'll position them accordingly. But John Pryor, if I had to pick which one was going to represent me if I was in a criminal case, I would pick Pryor, because he does seem to have a little bit more nous about him, even though he hates microphones. But I think that today John Pryor just like, here I am trying to deal with this motion to dismiss and all this stuff and change of venue, and this guy's going on some crazy Twitter rant attacking the Woodcocks, making us look like idiots. Great, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
But you think they'd be talking to each other? Like, let's
One
come
would
up with our
think.
plan. Maybe they're doing like good cop, bad cop lawyer people. I don't know. Like, okay, you be the crazy one on social media. I'll do all the filings,
Exactly. I do feel like there has to be some correspondence between them. I don't know. A reality show that would be good to watch is if they do merge the things, to watch how Pryor and Means tackle this whole thing, and however that would turn about. I think it'll make it even worse, because I think that they'll just be like completely like at each other.
Yep. Couple things going on in chat. First of all, D. Keller, I am going to address your comment. Normally, I would just delete it and move on, but I'm not demonizing Melanie Gibb. I'm saying she's an untrustworthy witness. You can't believe anything she says because she lies a lot. And bottom line, I don't like her for the state. I don't think they should call her as a witness. Yes, she told the police some of what she knew, but she also lied to them first and let them believe the lie for what, 10 days? Thinking that after she said JJ was with her or something like that. So no, she's not a Saint Melanie. We don't play Saint Melanie here. So I'm sorry if you think that makes me a horrible, horrible person, but tough. That's my stance on that. Um, and the other comment, there was one other comment I saw I wanted to reply to, but I don't see it now. So yeah, that's my thing on Melanie. She's suspicious. I do not buy her act for a hot minute, and I'm not gonna be. So watch all of my other videos. There's a lot of videos about Melanie Gibb, and we even reviewed her book over on our podcast channel. That was pretty enlightening. Have a read of her book. You may see a little bit more to her than just what she sees in her grape sniffing interview.
Oh my God, that book! I blocked it out. I mean,
sorry to bring that back.
I blocked it out.
Oh no,
Oh
Paul's
my
triggered.
goodness. That book. Yeah, that book. Wow. Yeah, that did a number on all of us, I think. I don't know if we've recovered fully from it. Excuse me. So I don't know, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, I think the whole Melanie Gibb thing, a lot of people feel like she's given information, she's doing whatever, and yes, that is good. You know what I'm saying? It's you can hold two opinions about the same thing and look at it from all angles,
Right.
but you can't deny the other aspects of what took place. She lied to the police. She said she lied to the police. I'm glad that she's had a change of heart, allegedly, and all that, but that still happened. You know what I'm saying? So again, if you read her book, you can have a better idea, I think, of like where some of that came from. And you can choose to do with that what you want to, whether you want to have more sympathy for her or more like, oh wow, okay. That's scary.
Yep. And remember, in Rob Wood's latest filing, he said the conspirators in the case, Chad and Lori, and also, but not limited to, Alex Cox. What did he mean by that? He's leaving that door wide open for other co-conspirators to be named. And who would be another star co-conspirator? Maybe the people that were there that night that JJ was murdered. The people that were in Lori's home with her when JJ was killed. You know who that'd be? Melanie Gibb and David Warwick. So, that door's still open. He hasn't closed that door yet. So let's keep our eye on that for sure.
Well, I think too, on that line of thought, when it comes to the people that were in the house, I think that so I'm talking about prior when he was questioning what's her name, Melanie Gibb. I think that he was setting her up for that, and I think he's going to walk her through that. Same thing we saw with Casey Anthony, where they threw every possible thing at the wall, and it worked. Because he was
Yep.
asking her questions about her hearing, about stuff like that. And like, oh, did you for a fact see the child in this part in the house? And so I'm just like, he was very concerned about where they were at in the house, timings of people, last sights of children in the house that evening, the night before. So,
and even what they could and could not hear. All those questions about her hearing, remember?
Yeah. It was that was all for a reason. All the stuff he was asking her and pretending like he didn't know, or that he was like, I'm very interested in this. I want to learn about this. It was all for a reason.
Yep.
And it will
Joe
come
PA,
back to haunt people.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Joe PA, thank you for the super chat. He says there are no heroes in this case, including Melanie Gibb. Joe and I have had a long email talk back and forth about some of the background and stuff with Melanie Gibb, and it's very enlightening. So, Joe, I'm glad to see you here. That was a great talk, and I agree with you 100%. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for being
people in chat are talking
here.
about joint trials. We've watched a couple. We watched the McNabb-Bell trial, the Rosenbaum trial. Now, those were different because McNabb-Bell, they each had their own attorney, which is what we're going to see here. But in the Rosenbaum case, they had one attorney, and the state even fought against that, even taking it to the Supreme Court of their state to try and force them to have separate attorneys. So who knows what's going to happen in this case? Are they going to join up together? I don't think so. We'll have to see. The Groves too. That was another joint trial. So we do see joint trials a lot. That's not anything out of the ordinary, but it's certainly going to be lit.
From what I've seen too, they never go well. It's just like, honestly, the only hope for one of the people in here is to, in my opinion, if it was even an option, is to tell on the other person. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And I get that they're like, look, we're, whatever. I get it. You know what I mean? Whether they're a married couple or whatever, they don't want to whatever. It's a little bit different with Chad and Lori. I mean, I guess they were married. The best thing that can happen for one of them, and I'm not trying to say I want that to happen, is for one of them to rat the other out.
Yep.
And that's it, but they're not going to do that. I don't think. I mean, maybe.
I don't think they would over these charges. I mean, they have to know. Pryor and Means both have to know that they are potentially looking at conspiracy to commit murder or straight up murder charges. They've got to know that that's coming down the line eventually. Yeah. I don't think they would go the route of trying to secure a deal for a plea bargain just for these charges.
No.
Because, okay, fine. We'll let you off on these charges. But guess what? Slap. Here's conspiracy to commit murder. Now what? Now what? So
exactly.
that's what I'm thinking we're going to see. But who knows? This case keeps me on my toes minute to minute.
I mean, it never fails. It's always there.
Definitely
just
is.
Giving and giving and giving.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking about Melanie Pawlowski. I don't have much news about her. A lot of people are asking if she's given birth yet. I don't even know that she's pregnant. That was a rumor that got started somewhere. I've never seen any official confirmation that she's even pregnant, so I certainly don't know if she gave birth. There certainly haven't been any posts saying, hey, I gave birth today, here's my baby. So I have no idea about that. As far as her involvement in this case, she was listed on Lori's early witness list. I don't even know if that's still valid at this point, but certainly she's a part of the case. Now, in the custody case with Brandon Boudreaux, her ex-husband, the officer, Detective Pillar, who we've heard about in this case as well, did file an affidavit with the court saying that Melanie Pawlowski is a person of interest in two cases, both the shooting attempt of Brandon and the disappearance and now ultimate death of JJ and Tylee. So she is in a lot of legal hot water. How much? I really don't know, but definitely keep your eye on Melanie Pawlowski. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I know, that's another one. My gosh. That whole interview that she did. I mean, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, and David Z asks if we're ever going to get an update about Tammy's information. We absolutely will. Remember what happened with Tammy? They got suspicious about Tammy's death after the children had disappeared. They exhumed her body on December 12th. By early January, they had a search warrant for Chad's home based on what they found after they exhumed Tammy's remains. So they were suspicious then. And in April, law enforcement came out and said that they were looking at Chad and Lori for possible conspiracy to commit murder, and attempted murder charges regarding Tammy. All that right now is all we're happening in the background, because I would think that Rob Wood, now that he is the special prosecutor, is going to dump charges on them for all of these deaths. All of them. We know that there's stuff going on with Charles's case. There's some stuff going on with Joseph's case. I mean, this is not over by a long shot.
Nope. Not by a long shot. I mean, this is going to go on for, a long time, because I just really feel like they're going to keep hitting them with these charges. That's going to go out. This is going to be a whole other thing. I mean, it's just going to, this is here to stay for a long time.
Yeah. Jen Chapman asks, why can't they say where Alex Cox's phone pinged when Brandon was shot at? They must not have the data. Oh, they have the data. I guarantee you that they have that data. That is a separate case right now. Now, because Rob Wood was named special prosecutor, he can investigate and prosecute any cases that arise out of the investigation of the case he's currently working on. So if he uncovers information about Alex and Brandon's shooting, he can wrap that all up into what he's doing now. So you have to understand all of this is happening in the background. They're still looking at all of this stuff. And they're going to put all the pieces together, and then they're going to bring charges when they know they have enough evidence to prove it and secure a conviction. They're not going to do that too soon, because they can end up causing issues and not being able to prosecute them fully in the end. So we have to be really patient. But this is a gigantic case with all this stuff, Yeah. Oh, Wood can only charge cases in Idaho. Brandon was not shot in Idaho, was he? He was in Arizona or something? Now I'm all confused. That's right. Brandon was shot in Utah or Arizona. Tammy was shot in, or attempted to be shot at in their home in Salem. So that one. But we also know that they're looking at Charles's case with Alex. That's in the same general area as Brandon's shooting, I believe, correct? And I have to go back and look at in Arizona. Right, so there's so much happening in the background of this case. But I think we're going to see a whole lot of stuff. A whole lot.
I do too. We're going to see a whole bunch of stuff, and it's going to be pretty interesting. Honestly, my gut feeling is, they're never going to walk out of jail. I would be shocked. I don't want to jinx it, but Now, here's a question for Lori Hellis.
If they can show that the same person shot at Brandon as shot at Tammy, even though one's in Arizona and one's up in Salem, Idaho, can that be linked to the current place? Like, could Rob Wood handle it then, even though the two shootings were in two different states, if they were done by the same person in relation to this? Like, if, say, Lori knew, or Lori or Chad asked them to go shoot at them. You know what I mean? If they can tie the source of those shootings to the current case at hand. This is so complicated. This is why I'm not a lawyer.
It does get really tricky. It's just like, my gosh, all this different stuff. It's fascinating.
Yeah, because we have all these different states. We've got Utah, Arizona, Hawaii, not Montana, even though they were in Yellowstone. I think they were in the Idaho part. I don't even know. I haven't looked at that. But there's so many different states involved already.
Yeah, completely. That's what even complicates it even more and more. It's just, it's such a, from a legal viewpoint, it's such an interesting case. From many viewpoints, but it's, legally, it's just like, wow.
Okay, Lori says they're separate cases because they're in different jurisdictions, but they could charge them with conspiracy in Idaho for an action that happened in Arizona. Okay, that makes sense. Because if, like, the three of them were sitting around one night and say, you know what, we should really take out Brandon. Oh, yeah, let's take out Brandon. And they can prove that somehow through God knows only what text or something, then they could bring a conspiracy charge, but the actual attempted murder charge would have to come from the jurisdiction where it happened. That makes sense. I get that. Whew, good thing we have Lori Ellis here, because I'm like, I don't know nothing.
Right? Huh?
Well, thanks.
Well,
the prosecutor.
Yeah.
The Todd Mullis prosecutor. Todd Mullis got sentenced to life in prison today. Did you read about that?
I did. He looked very deflated. He
Mhm.
still claims his innocence. He still is like, it's an accident. That corn rake and me have nothing in common. And that's all there is to it. And I just am like, wow, okay. That was another tricky case. You know what I mean? Because there was a lot going on with that one. Honestly, I remember that happened. And by the time they did everything, I was like, I was expecting them to be like, not guilty. You know what I mean? Because it was just like, wow, they're really throwing a lot of reasonable doubt stuff out there. And you just never know where that goes. But, I mean, I personally feel like he did it. But that was a very weird case. Very weird trial.
Jen, that was a trial that we covered last summer, the corn rake trial. Todd Mullis was accused of murdering his wife with a corn rake in a barn on their property. It wasn't the most interesting case we've ever covered, but the trial was fascinating because that little prosecutor guy, bless his heart, I love that little guy.
Wasn't that the one where they had to sit down and they couldn't stand up?
No, that was a guy who, remember, on the stand, he tells somebody, well, thanks, and went and sat back down. He was so Southern and so polite. He was just adorable.
Yeah, he was very something. Yeah, Andrew, it was a completely horrible way to do that. I mean, he had the whole thing, and his son. That's what also just throws me off with these people when they're going to do something like that with the kid basically in the other room. It's just like, oh, go do this, and oh, your mom went to go do this, and sent the son to find the kid, to find the mother. The whole thing. Whole thing.
Raising Cane's is talking about the documentary that Kay and Larry may be doing for A&E. First, we don't know that for sure. They said that they're working on a documentary. They didn't specify with who, and we don't know if they're getting paid. Not everyone in a documentary gets paid for them, so it's possible that they're not. Plus, there's always the question, did Melanie Gibb get paid for her interviews? I didn't see Mark Means screaming about that. She was on Dateline, a couple interviews with Nate, so, there's no evidence that they are getting paid, or even if so, if they are a witness to be called, or, it's just Mark Means spouting nonsense. Ugh. Makes me so mad.
Blah 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 sense.
Yeah, we need that trumpet sound. That wah wah wah.
Wah wah wah. Mark Means text.
Mm-hmm.
Wah, wah, wah. Well, I'm gonna have to get ready to go here, Miss Aylin, because I am exhausted and I want to eat some dinner and get on the sofa and watch me a little Love After Lockup here in about an hour.
Yep, tonight is the mid-season finale for Love After Lockup. We will be talking about it on the podcast channel this weekend. We'll make sure you have links available. Also, while we're here, before you leave, if you haven't signed up yet for Lori Hellis's newsletter, go to the LoriVallowStory.com. It's a free newsletter. You're going to get it in your email. Whenever legal things happen in the case, she posts a newsletter explaining what and why and wherefore and how this all works in a way that you can easily understand. So I really strongly suggest that, because this case is going to be a legal nightmare. And if you're not a seasoned criminal defense attorney, we don't have a clue what's going on. So it's a great resource, and I highly recommend it. So there you go.
Yay. It was fun chatting. I'm glad we got to come on and let out some steam about Lori and Chad and Mark Means and John Pryor.
Thank you for coming on. I was just beside myself today. I'm like, Paul, why do you have to have a job? I got to talk about this right now.
Right.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, and I will talk to you again tomorrow for Love After Lockup. Super fun.
All right. Thanks for having me. I'll see everybody later. Hasta la vista, babies.
Good night, Paul. All right, I'm going to stay with you guys for a minute just to go over some stuff that's coming up. I'm going to say goodbye to Paul. There we go. All right, so that's all the news for today. We have the motion to extend that was granted by the court. regarding the motion to dismiss. So that was from John Pryor. That's going to be happening there. Lori's hearing is supposed to be on September 10th. Is it still going to happen? I don't know. We're going to assume it is unless we get formal notification that changes. So I will bring that to you live on the 10th. I'll plan that well ahead of time so you get all your links and stuff. What else is happening? We'll be watching Mark Mean's Twitter account. He's not real happy with me. He did report some of my replies. Guess he didn't like being called a jackwagon or something, but whatever. Maybe I shouldn't comment on his stuff, but man, that just made me so mad. If you're going to go after someone and you're going to pick Kay and Larry Woodcock, not while I'm watching. No, I adore Kay and Larry Woodcock, and that just broke my heart that he did that. So I went on a rant. Can't help it. Anyway, I will be doing a weekly news roundup live stream this Sunday, right? Even though we did today, because I just had to come on and give you all the news with all of these filings and all of Mark Mean's craziness. So we had an extra live this week, but I will see you again Sunday. And don't forget to join Discord if you want to talk about the case around the clock. There's conversation always going on there. So feel free to jump in. Discord is totally free. Cowgirl, what show? We're going to be watching Love After Lockup. We've been following that show with a bunch of us and doing live panels on the other channel, on the podcast channel, on the weekends, just for fun. It was Gilbert, Arizona, that Brandon was shot at. Okay, thank you. Thank you. There are too many names and towns and places and dates in this case for me to keep it clear when I'm live, and I don't have all my notes in front of me, so I apologize for that. It's just too much for my little brain. There's too many people involved here. Also, stay tuned for Patrons and channel members. There's some new stuff coming. We had our live stream last night. You can still watch that. It's up. I know the link got messed up in Patreon, but the live is still there, so you can go watch it now. All right, so I'm going to head out of here. So I'm also going to watch Love After Lockup and stuff. But thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for the super chats. Welcome to the new channel members. I'm so glad to have you. And I will talk to you again Sunday. Remember, you can always reach me in Discord. I'm there around the clock. So good night. Thank you for being here. And yeah, let's stand up for Kay and Larry Woodcock because I adore them to pieces. And I hope you do too. So talk to you soon and stay safe out there.